This is the video explanation of experiment 3 regression and logistic regression. The first question is load the dataset. First, the dataset is loaded into Python using the pandas library. Second question is select independent and dependent variables. In a regression analysis, we separate variables into independent variable x and dependent variable y. The independent variable is used to predict the dependent variable. For example, sepal length may be used to predict sepal width. The third question is calculate regression coefficient. A regression coefficient includes the slope b1 and intercept b0. These values define the relationship between x and y. They are calculated using statistical formulas based on the mean and variance of the data. For fourth question is form the regression equation. After calculating the coefficient, we form the regression equation. The general equation is y is equal to b0 plus b1x ax plus b. This equation can be used to predict the value of y for any given x. Uh, the fifth question is predict values using regression model. Using the regression equation, we calculate the predicted value of y. This is done by substituting the x values into the regression equation. Calculating the sum of squared errors is the sixth question. It says SSE measures the total error between predicted values and the actual values. It is calculated by squaring the difference between actual and predicted values and summing them. A smaller SSE indicates a better model. Seventh question is calculate RMSE. Root means square error. It measures the average magnitude of prediction errors. Lower RMSE value indicates that the model predictions are closer to the actual values. So the eighth question is calculate R square score. The R squared value measures how well the regression model explains the data. It ranges between 0 and 1, where values closer to 1 indicates better model performance. A higher R square means the model explains most of the variability in the data. The ninth question is plotting a regression line using scatter plot. In this step, we create a scatter plot of the data points. Then we draw a regression line that represents the relationship between x and y. This visualizes this visualization helps us understand how well the model fits the data. Tenth question is predict value for new input. Finally, we use the regression equation to predict the output for a new input value. The new value of x is substituted into the regression equation. This demonstrates how the model can be used for real-world predictions. Logistic regression is used for classification problems instead of predictions of continuous values. It uses a sigmoid function to convert the output into probabilities between 0 and 1. Based on the probability value, the model classifies the data into different categories.